and welcome to my channel Notes on the Sewing Room. If you are new here, my name is Becky and it's really lovely to have you all with me today. Today's video is all about what I've made during the month of February. If you are new to my channel is basically all about sewing. So if you do enjoy sewing and you do enjoy what you see today, I would love it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. But I've got quite a few different things to show you today, and I feel quite proud that I've managed to stick to some of my sewing plans that I did share towards the end of January, start of February time, which was on one of my recent fabric haul videos. So yeah, let's get to it and I'll tell you what I've been up to. I hope you've been having a lovely week wherever you are in the world and whatever you've been up to. We've had some quite nice weather here over the last few days, although it does seem to have dropped a little bit cooler today. And I'm quite pleased really that a lot of my makes that I've made over the last sort of month or so are ideal for this time of year. So I feel like that was quite well planned. So yeah, which is not always like me, to be honest. I sometimes make things that are a little bit, unseasonable, but hey ho. Let's talk about the first thing that I wanted to share with you today, and that is what I'm wearing. So if you can see, I don't know if you can guess what pattern it is the Tilly and the Buttons Billy jumper, and this is actually my third version of this pattern. First of all, I tried making the pattern as a cardigan hack. I did actually record a video about that one if you'd like to check that out if you haven't seen that already. I basically joined the Billy pattern and the Bertha cardigan from the Tilly and the Buttons Make It Simple book together to make a really nice cardigan. So I was really pleased with that cardigan and the way that it turned out. But of course I had to try the jumper version. But I decided that actually the sweatshirt version came a little bit long for my liking, so I decided to make it more of a cropped style. So I'll just stand up in a second to actually show you this version, but basically I've cut the pattern off at the waist notch and then I've gone ahead and added on the hemband as normal, and I'm really pleased with actually the way that it's actually worked out. I made my version in a Tilly and the Buttons size 3, which I believe is a UK size 10. This is the lovely little instruction booklet that comes with the pattern. As with all Tilly and the Buttons patterns, it has got an amazing little instruction booklet which talks you through each of the different sewing steps step by step, which is really good. But just having a look at the finished garment measurements here. So the size 3, which is the one that I've made, has a finished bust size of 38 inches and a waist of 37 inches and a hip of 40. So my actual measurements are 32 bust, 28 waist and a 40 hip. So this actually works really well for me because it actually sits well above my hips. So but the pattern is actually available in a Tilly and the Buttons size 1. So finished garment measurements, that is a 34-inch bust, and the hip measurement would be a 36 inches on the size 1, and going up to the Tilly size 10, that's a finished garment measurement of the bust 52 inches and the hip is 54 inches. So, but I really recommend this pattern if you haven't tried it already. It's just amazing. There's loads popping up on Instagram, so if you do search the hashtag Sewing Billy, then you'll find lots and lots of inspiration there, I'm sure. But anyway, let me stand up and show you the length of this. So basically, as you can see, it comes to the top of my skirt. If you are interested, the skirt that I'm wearing is the Sewaholic crescent skirt. So it's got some really interesting details down the front here. I'm not sure if you can see. And then it's got a lovely exposed zipper at the back. The version that I've made has anyway. So, but I really like the length of this. I'm really pleased with it. In terms of the fabrics that I've used to actually make this, the pink is a French terry fabric, and I actually got that as a remnant piece from Guthrie and Garney in Birmingham quite a while ago, to be honest. It's a lovely piece of fabric, and I only had 1 metre of that, so I was kind of waiting around for ages to try and find that perfect project, and I actually had 1 metre of this purple Ponte Roma fabric. It's more of a burgundy colour, I guess. So I thought that the two fabrics worked really well together, and I'm really pleased with the way that it worked out, although my husband actually said, "Oh, I'm not sure about that, and kind of give me one of those looks like, not sure if that's a little bit strange. So do let me know what you think and if you think it works okay together. But I'm quite pleased with it, to be honest. Yeah, I just love the kind of movement that the French terry is kind of given in the arm. It just makes it a little bit softer, to be honest. And I found previously that the arms on the balloon sleeve version that I've made do come up a little bit short for me, and I don't know if that's because I've got long arms or not, I don't know. I have heard other people say also that it's come up a little bit short on them, and I found that it was more of a bracelet length sleeve, which is fine, but it probably sounds a bit weird, but my wrists get all cold. So this time I decided to lengthen the cuff by 1 inch, which seems to have worked out quite well. So even if I'm holding my arm right out, it's still quite a good length on the actual arm. So I'm really pleased with that. So I'm pleased that I joined the two different fabrics together, because I feel like it adds a little bit of something different, something a bit interesting to this jumper, and kind of just makes it stand out with, you know, other jumpers and cardigans and things that I've got in my wardrobe. And because it's not a really heavy fabric that I've made it in, I can definitely wear it well into the spring, I'm sure, and maybe even on those kind of cooler summer evenings. So yeah, but I love burgundy and I love pink, so this one's right up my street. The next thing that I wanted to show you is actually a headband, and I made this from the Stitch Sisters headband tutorial, which I will link below so that you can find that if you want to give it a go. But it is a super easy tutorial. Basically, you take your head measurement and then you add on, I think, a couple of extra centimetres, depending on which version of the headband you want to make. You can make one version which has got a knot detail in the top, which is the version that I've made, and I'll show you in 1 second. Or you can make it with a little tie as well, which is really super cute. So it just depends on which version you fancy doing, to be honest. So I basically cut 2 long pieces of fabric for this. You make sure that the seam is on the inside of the headband. I'm not sure how well you can see that there. And then you just basically tie a knot in the top and you join it at the back. So my joining's not actually that neat, to be honest, but it's in exactly the same fabric as the bodice of my jumper, which I just think is really nice, and it means that I can wear them together or not wear them together. And one thing that I found before is that I don't have that many headbands that are in a plain colourway. So I think hopefully this plain burgundy headband will go with quite a few different things in my wardrobe, if not what I'm actually wearing at the moment. So I've actually just put the headband on so you can hopefully see it just there. So you can wear the knot detail in any position that you'd like to. I've got mine roughly at the top of centre of my head there. But the good thing about wearing headbands, of course, at the moment is as well that here in the UK, our salons are closed, our hairdressers aren't open. So I'm absolutely desperate to go to the hairdressers. I can't wait until they reopen. So fingers crossed it's not going to be too long now. But in the meantime, wearing headbands like this hopefully help to hide my roots a little bit. So, but yeah, it's lovely to have it matching my jumper as well. So if you haven't tried that headband tutorial, I definitely recommend it. It's super easy. You can make it in probably about 15 minutes or so, and you don't need to have an overlocker. You can do it all on your sewing machine. I should have said actually that the Billy jumper can also be completely made on your sewing machine by using some kind of stretch stitch, whichever you prefer on your machine, or you could make it on your overlocker, so whichever you fancy. I do feel like there's a lot of possibilities with this Billy pattern. You can of course make the dress version that's on the cover here, or there's 2 different versions of the jumper that you can make as well. There is the plain sleeve version, which is this one, or of course you can make the balloon sleeve version like the one that I've made. I've not actually tried the plain sleeve version yet because I feel like it's quite similar to the Grainline Linden jumper, although the neck is a little bit different, neckline is a little bit different, so it depends really what you fancy doing. But for me, I've already got a whole collection of Grainline Linden jumpers. I did actually film a video on that a while ago, so if you haven't seen that, then you can check it out on my channel, and I'll link it below for you as well. But I think I've got, I can't remember now, I don't know if it's 9 Linden jumpers or 13 Linden jumpers, can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I've got loads, so I probably don't need any kind of plain sleeve sweatshirts at the moment. Speaking of the neckline, actually, I almost forgot to mention, that I found on the Billy pattern that the neckline came up a little bit high. So you'll probably notice on this version that I'm wearing, I've actually lowered the neckline by roughly 2 inches down from the original neckline on the pattern piece, and I'm really pleased with actually how that's worked out. I redrew the neckband as well so that it was slightly longer so that it would fit nicely onto my new kind of curved edge that I'd created. But I think if I make this again, which I probably will because I really like this pattern, I think I will also do the same thing and lower the neckline again. The next thing that I wanted to share with you today is actually another Billy jumper, which is the one on my mannequin here. So just give me a second and I'm going to slip it on. I've decided actually in all of my videos after the feedback that I've had from you guys is to actually try and put on my clothes in my videos just to kind of show you the fit and what they look like on me and that kind of thing, as well as if I can adding in a few pictures as well. So if that is something that you like, then do let me know. But I think a few people have fed back to me before that that's something that you enjoy kind of seeing, so that's what I'm going to try and do for you. So this is the other version of the Billy jumper that I made this month, and as much as I really like this version of it, I love the fabric. I got the fabric from Higgs and Higgs, and it's a really nice sweatshirting fabric. It's not too thick, which I like because I don't want to get too ridiculously hot when I'm wearing a sweatshirt, to be honest. It's got a lovely fleecy bit on the inside of the jumper, and it just feels quite nice and snuggly against your skin if you don't wear a top underneath. Although today I'm actually wearing one of my Tilly and the Buttons Agnes tops underneath here just to try and keep me nice and warm. But as you can see, this neckline is actually the original from the pattern, and I just don't really like things that are too high up around here. Just kind of makes me feel a bit more, just kind of like pulling it down a little bit. I have actually got used to this neck since I've actually made the jumper, because I really want to wear the jumper, and I don't want it to just kind of sit in my wardrobe and not get anywhere, particularly as I love the fabric so much. I did actually contemplate kind of cutting this neckline off and kind of changing it a little bit, maybe adding on a new neckband, but I decided that I'm just going to go with it and keep the one that I've got, because I guess sometimes it's quite nice to have things that are a little bit different. And I think the arms look completely different on this one to the previous version that I just showed you, and I think that's because this is a heavier weight sweatshirting than the French terry that the previous arms were made in. The French terry got more of a floaty feel to it, whereas this one is slightly more structured. But I think it's nice to have two different jumpers that are from the same pattern, which actually look kind of different and just make you feel a bit different when you're wearing them. Now with this version, I only had 1.5 meters of fabric, and the fabric wasn't massively wide, and I actually wanted to make this as a cropped version, which I have. So if I just stand up, you can see that it comes to the top of my skirt again. So I'm really pleased with that. But what I did actually have to do was I had to piece together the waist section here, the hemband. So I've actually got dog fur on me. If you've got a Labrador, you know what I mean, it gets everywhere. So I've actually pieced together the waistband. So I've actually got 2 pieces of fabric here and then another 2 on the back to actually make the waistband. But I was really pleased that I managed to get this jumper actually out of the fabric that I had, and I didn't waste any of the fabric at all. But because of that, I couldn't lengthen the sleeve at all, because I kind of just didn't have enough room on my fabric. And I guess I probably could have lengthened the cuff, but to be honest, I didn't actually think of that until I'd done the other version, which I just showed you before. So, but I'm pleased with this. It is more of a bracelet length if I'm pulling out my arms or I'm kind of lifting for something or something like that. But generally, it's fine, and I guess you kind of live and learn when you make patterns and then just kind of see how it goes. But I'm really pleased with that. I really love this material, and I was actually inspired by this material by Sally from The Secret Life of the Seamstress. She made a Billy jumper in a beautiful green version, which is the same fabric but in a green colourway. I tried to find some of that fabric, but unfortunately it's sold out. So if you have seen that green version anywhere, then do give me a shout and leave me a comment below or send me a message on Instagram. And I'd love to find some of the green colourway version. But so it's just a beautiful quality sweatshirt in, and another jumper that I'm sure will see me through the rest of the winter and into spring as well. The next project that I wanted to chat to you about today is actually on my mannequin. So again, I shall slip this on in just a second to show you, but this is a Helen's Closet Gilbert shirt. So this is actually some fabric that was gifted to me, or given to me for free, should I say, from Minerva. So I'm a brand ambassador for Minerva, which basically means they send me some different fabric on quite a regular basis, say once a month or once every couple of months, depending on when I've got time to make up the garments. And that is in exchange for a review on their website and just basically feedback of how the fabric works and how it looks made up as a garment. So, but this is a lovely art gallery fabric. It's a rayon and it's got a beautiful drape to it. It's sewed up really nicely. It did have a little bit of frayness. Oh, it did fray, should I say, a little bit. But it actually went through my overlocker fine, because I was a little bit scared about kind of putting the rayon through my overlocker in case it laddered and kind of, you know, just whatever, like just went all messy. But actually it was fine, so I was really pleased with the way that that worked out. And because it's a rayon, it's really lightweight, it feels beautiful on, it's really kind of soft and floaty, and I can just imagine wearing it with a kind of lightweight skirt in summer and you know, just being nice and cool, and you know, to sit out in the garden or go for a picnic or anything like that will be beautiful. This is actually my third version of the Helen's Closet Gilbert top, and well, you're probably getting an idea now if you've watched any of my other videos that when I find a pattern that I like, I just kind of stick with it and I tend to make it quite a few times. I think that's just because it's kind of tried and tested and it's something that I enjoy doing. Also, from a financial point of view, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of the pattern and you know, really putting it to good use. And the good thing also, similar to the Billy jumper, you know, there's different versions that you can make. You can make different versions of the Helen's Closet top as well. You can make this version that I've done with the tie front, and there's also a bell sleeve version that you can make as well, leaving off the tie if you prefer. One of the versions that I made, I lengthened the sleeves a little bit and I left off the tie, but I still made it in more of a crop style rather than completely longer than the version that I've got here. And I didn't actually do the full bell sleeve, basically because I didn't have enough fabric, but that is something that I'd be interested in trying in the future. So I'll just slip this one on so you can actually see it, but I really want to show you also the close-up of the button details here. I'll see if I can slot in a picture so that you can see those, but they're lovely little heart kind of crystally type buttons, which I picked up from Material Girl Fabrics, who are based in Nottinghamshire, and you can actually buy from them online. You can find them on Facebook if you're interested, and they do post out. So but they're really cute. I got a little card that had got 3 buttons on there, and yeah, they were super affordable, to be honest, as well. So, but I just think they really add a splash of something different to my shirt. So I was really pleased to find something that was a little bit unusual to add on there. I'll just slip on my shirt and then you can see what it looks like and what the fit's like. And I'll also tell you a little bit about the size that I made and how I found the instructions. So this is my Helen's Closet Gilbert top. I really like this because I feel like it's got a bit of a vintage feel to it. I really like the fabric, so if I just hold my arm up there, you'll be able to see it a little bit more. It's got a lovely spot detail to it without being kind of in your face, kind of polka dots. Although that is something that I enjoy wearing as well, to be honest. But yeah, they're kind of creamy spots and like little orange spots as well. So I really like the collar detail on this. Before I discovered the Helen's Closet Gilbert top, I was never really a shirt wearer, if you know what I mean. I've always found them a little bit formal. But the nice thing about this is you could definitely wear it into the office, but you can also wear it casually as well, which for me means that I kind of get maximum wear out of the garment. Although I am on maternity leave at the minute, but I think when I do go back to the office, I could wear this in for sure. But this is, it's really nice. It's got the tie detail at the front. If you didn't want to wear it so high, then you could actually just kind of make it a little bit looser and kind of just wear it a little bit more down there if that's what you prefer to do. As you can see, it's not too short at the back either, which is nice, because I wouldn't really feel comfortable if it was too much of a crop top. But I really do think it's lovely. I love the tie at the front there. It's just quite girly and special really. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I also like the arms as well, that they're not too tight. And to be honest though, I've made this, as I said, 3 different times. I've made it once in a cotton lawn, once in a cotton poplin, and this one as a rayon. I think all those fabrics work really well for this particular project. The rayon just move around quite a lot on the sewing machine. So if you are new to sewing, I'd recommend doing this project in maybe some kind of cotton fabric instead of cotton poplin. Works really well, or even a quilting cotton if that's what you've got at home. The rayon works perfectly, but I think you probably just need a little bit of sewing experience to make sure that you're not too worried about kind of sewing it on the machine. Having said that, I'm all for giving things a go. So if you did want to tackle a new fabric like this, if you are new to sewing, then just take your time and don't rush, and you'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. One of the things that I was so impressed with the Helen's Closet Gilbert top is actually the instructions. So I've actually printed these off at home. But yeah, they are just so good, like just kind of really break everything down. And I was so worried about doing the burrito method to finish the inside yoke of the top, and it wasn't something that I'd done before, and I was just really worried about it because I thought it seemed complicated, and I'd watched a few YouTube tutorials on it before, and I just thought, oh, I don't really know if I'll be able to manage it. But actually the instructions are so good that it just really talked me through it, and I just kind of give me that little bit of extra confidence that I could maybe use it again on another project. The nice thing about this is it's available in sizes 0 to 30, and as I said, there's a couple of different versions that you can make there. That's the bell sleeve version, and that's the version that I've made. In terms of the pattern measurements, I made the B cup version, and it says on here that the high bust is 32 inches and the full bust is 34 inches on the version that I've made, and the waist is 27, and that is the Helen's Closet size 6 that I've actually made. And I thought that worked quite well for me because I'm a 32 bust and a 28 waist, but actually, it's a fairly loose fitting garment really, and even in the kind of more sturdy fabrics that I have used, like I said, the cotton poplin and also the cotton lawn, even though that was actually quite lightweight, it was still absolutely fine around the waist. So but I was just so pleased with the way that everything was broken down in here, and I like that there's just different options that you can do, including actually a breast pocket, which I haven't actually tried on any of my versions yet, but I probably will give that a go at some point in the future as well, because again, you could play around with that, use a different fabric for that perhaps, or edge the pocket in some rickrack or some ribbon or something pretty. You could maybe even add a little bit of button detail on there if you wanted to. So yeah, there's lots of different options that you could potentially try, and hopefully I'll maybe have a go at trying those in the future. I hope the light's okay, by the way, in today's video, because I'm actually filming this in the evening, and I usually try and film my videos during the day, but unfortunately as a new mum it's not always possible because I have to do my videos during nap time, and today we've not really had nap time apart from when I was out walking with the pram, so yeah, it's not been possible. So I'm filming it during the evening because I was really eager to kind of show you what I've been making during the month of February, so I do hope the light's okay from your point of view. For anyone that's interested, by the way, baby William is getting on really well, and he's 5 months old already. I can't believe that he's 5 months old. He's just the time is just going so fast, and he's actually started to giggle, which I just think is amazing. Like, it actually made me well up. My eyes just filled with water when he started to giggle, because it's just such a special thing. And I don't know, like, before I was a mum, like, I never really understood how that kind of thing would make you feel, but it's just amazing. And he's starting to do kind of his arms and leg movements and starting to kind of tip himself from side to side when he's having tummy time, so I don't think it'll be long before potentially starts to crawl as well. But anyway, it's just such an amazing time to be having this, prolonged period of time with him on maternity leave. So I'm loving every day getting out with the pram, and to be honest, I think I'm probably fitter than I was before because of just the amount of walking that I've been doing, because William tends to sleep when we go out in the pram, and I think it's really good for me getting fresh air, and I think it's really good for my mental health as well as William getting fresh air, so yeah, good all round. So I know a few of you have asked me before how William's getting on, so hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight and an update to how we're getting on. So I've got a few extra things to show you in today's video. I've got a dress which I'm going to slip on to show you in just a minute, and then I've also been making a couple of bits and pieces for the house as well. This is the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about today. I bought this fabric from Higgs and Higgs, and it's a lovely cotton chambray fabric which has got little lightning bolts all over it. I will put in a picture hopefully of you to see the fabric a little bit more close up, but as soon as I saw the fabric I was like, wow, I've got to have that, it's amazing. I love that it's got a bit of a gold sparkle to it, and it just makes me feel a little bit more dressy, even though it's more of a denim-y type fabric, if that makes any sense. And I love anything that's sparkly, so it was right up my street, to be honest, as soon as I saw it. But this is actually the Simple Sew utility dress pattern. I will put in a picture of the utility dress pattern pack as well so that you can see it. I've made this in a size 10 at the top, and then I've graded out to a 12 at the bottom. And that's mainly because it's more of a straighter skirt, and I'm not really comfortable with straight skirts that much. I'm more of an A-line type of girl, so that's what I decided to do. It's not a complete A-line on this, but I've kind of just eased out a little bit to make me feel a little bit more comfortable. I actually had a go at making this pattern as part of the Simple Sew blogger group, so I'm part of that network, and I was amazingly, I couldn't believe it, I was asked to go onto Hokana TV, and it's the first time that I've actually done anything like that, and I really enjoyed it, and I was really honoured to be asked, to be honest. It was quite a surprise. I only had a week's notice to kind of make a few bits and pieces to demonstrate on the show, but I really enjoyed the experience, so hopefully you know, I might be able to do something like that in the future, but I guess we'll watch this space and see. But one of the things that they wanted me to demonstrate on the show was the utility dress. So if I'm honest, this is not a pattern that, one, I've made before, or two, potentially I would have chosen. However, I was really pleasantly surprised at, you know, how much I like it, to be honest, because I think it's nice to kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone sometimes and make things that potentially, you know, you wouldn't have tried before. And I've been pleasantly surprised that actually it's really comfortable to wear, and it's given me something that's really practical just to kind of throw on, just put it over my head. There's no fiddly buttons or anything like that, and you know, it was really simple to make and just something that's completely different. So let me talk you through it. So as I said, I've made it in a chambray fabric. The neckline is finished with a bias binding, and I'll put in some pictures, but I've made it I've finished the neckline with some really, really pretty bias binding, which I bought from Laura over at the Specky Seamstress. And it's really, really pretty. I'll just kind of bend that forward so you can see it a little bit. If I lean forward, it's the one with the planets arm, which is really nice. And I've got a little bit left, so hopefully it will come in for something else. The nice thing about adding bias binding onto this particular neckline is that the shirt part is actually joined at the centre front, so you're literally putting on the bias binding in one piece, and then you actually join the bodice down the centre front here, so you're catching in the bias binding. So of course, if you wanted to do your own method, you could put it in more of a circular motion, yeah, I kind of followed the pattern instructions and put in the bias binding as it said. Of course, you could make your own bias binding if you prefer to do that. The garment has actually got grown on sleeves, which is quite nice, so you don't have to spend time actually putting in a sleeve on the round or flat, however you normally insert sleeves. And it's also got a cuff detail as well, which you probably can't see because of the light, but yeah, it's got a cuff detail here, so again, you know, you don't have to spend time kind of turning anything under and fiddling around doing top stitching, so I quite like that. The sleeves are really, really roomy, and there's plenty of room under the arms and things, which makes it really comfortable to wear. There's loads of ease in here, as you can see. So yeah, if you are making it, then do bear that in mind. I found, I'll put in a picture, that when I first made this, it was a little bit too low on the front for my liking, just because basically I don't feel comfortable wearing things that are too low cut. So what I decided to do was, even though it was really annoying because I'd put in the bias binding, it all looked really nice, I had to kind of unpick it a little bit. I only did it kind of at the shoulder, so I've got, yeah, I've had to kind of unpick it here and then kind of re-stitch it. but I've kind of pulled the dress in at the shoulder seams a little bit, and then I've kind of graded out for the rest of the shirt. So probably what I should have done if I'd had more time was kind of do a kind of trial version and kind of see how it worked out. But to be honest, this is my wearable kind of toile version, because I was actually demonstrating it for the show, and this I felt more comfortable doing a test version at home first. So I thought I'm going to use a fabric that I really like, so hopefully I'll get some wear out of it at home as well. But when I demonstrated it on the show, I did actually use a different type of chambray fabric. But just to talk you through a few extra details, it's got a lovely tie waist, so you can probably see that there. And it's got a channel for the tie to actually run through. You could actually use more of a string, like a shop bought type string if you prefer, but I actually made my version out of the same fabric, which I think looks quite nice. It's got some lovely pockets on the front here, which of course super handy. And then the back is actually finished with an elastic, which also makes it comfortable without being too bulky. And if I stand back, I'll just move my chair out of the way, you can see where it comes to. So it comes to just above my knees now, but I have taken quite a lot of fabric off of the length of this. So if you are shorter than me or you are taller than me, then you might want to keep that in mind depending on how long you like your dresses to be. I'm 5'10", and I think that I've taken around 4 inches off the bottom of this dress, and I've still got a nice little turn up on the bottom there. So it just depends on what you like, but I tend to like my dresses to finish just above my knee area. So, but obviously it depends what you feel comfortable in and what you like best. So yeah, I would recommend trying this pattern if you do fancy something that's kind of light to wear and something that's easy to put on just around the house, and you know, if you're popping out to the shops or whatever. I enjoyed the making process, and it was nice to try something that was just completely different to what I'd usually go for. I am quite a big fan of simple sew patterns. I always enjoy making them, and so it was nice to have the opportunity to one, go on TV, and to try a pattern that was just different for me, and quite unusual, I guess, compared to other things that I usually wear. So just a couple of extra things to actually show you. So you may recognise some of these fabrics from my plans video, which, like I say, was kind of late January, February time. So one I've made actually out of an off-cut, which I'd got from a lovely cable knit cardigan. After Christmas, when I'd taken off my Christmas cushion covers, I found that actually my cushions looked a little bit drab and just kind of needed a little bit of a new lease of life. So I've decided to make some new cushion covers for the house. So this one is made out of a cable knit fabric, as I said. Again, I bought this fabric from Higgs & Higgs. It's a lovely colourway. I love that green, and it's just really, really nice quality. It's not bobbled or anything like that. And I've actually finished this one off with a grey zipper on the top. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that, and I feel like it looks like something you'd buy from some kind of expensive shop. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And I've actually made 2 bright mustard cushion covers as well, which I finished with a red zip. I was planning to use a grey zip for these as well, but when I was looking at the zippers that I'd got in my stash, I thought, do you know what, why not use red? I think that could look quite snazzy and just different to other cushions that I've already got. So this is actually a stretch denim fabric, which I also bought from Higgs & Higgs. But to be honest, when it arrived, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier weight. So it wasn't really ideal for making what I wanted to try, although it would make a lovely skirt or something, I'm sure. But for me, I just thought, why not make some cushion covers in it? So that's what I've done. So this is one of them. I've made 2 versions of this, but of course they're the same, so I'll only show you one. But this is the red zipper that I've put in the top. I think that looks quite sweet. And yeah, it's this lovely mustard fabric. So I've made my cushion covers in 16 inches by 16 inches. I didn't use a pattern for those. I literally just drew it out on the actual fabric itself with chalk, and then I've cut it out, and then I've used the zippers, like I said, that I'd already got in my stash. So I'm really pleased with those, and as you can probably tell by my chair in the background and potentially other things that I've made as well in other videos, if you've seen any of my other vlogs, I really love mustard. So making anything kind of yellow or mustard is just great for me. So I'm really, really pleased with those. And my husband likes them as well, which is also a win. But I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video and learning about what I've made during the month of February. I always surprise myself how much I manage to squeeze in, because I really don't have loads of sewing time anymore. I kind of do 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, half an hour perhaps if my husband's around. Sometimes I get a bit longer on a weekend. It just depends on you know, what's going on, and you know, if you know, we're kind of doing things in the house, or yeah, but I still manage to, but I do find that things do come together quite quickly, even if you have got only small segments of time to sew. So if you are a really busy person, you know, potentially you have a busy family life, or you've got a really busy job, if you are interested in sewing, then, you know, just split it down and, you know, just do little bits of sewing wherever you can fit it in. And honestly, you'll surprise yourself how quickly things come together. But I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video. And if you have, I'd love it if you could hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've got any questions about anything that you've seen in today's video. I will try and put the links below to the fabrics that I've used and the shops that I've mentioned, etc., so that you can go ahead and have a look at those if you'd like to. But until next time, I'll leave it there and say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.